A public information education committee and special meeting of the board of directors call to order. EJ, can you determine a quorum, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Director Scott Houston. Here. Chairman Tommy Favai.
Here.
Director Don Deere. Here. Director Gloria Gray.
Here.
Director Desi Alvarez. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, EJ. All right, our next item is public comment. EJ, do we have any public comment here in the boardroom or on virtual?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any requests prior to this meeting. Though at this time, if there's any member of the public that's joining us virtually, if you'd like to make a public comment, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. And Mr. Chairman, I do not see any requests.
Thank you. All right, our next item is number 4. Are there any presentations, EJ?
Mr. Chairman, it is that time of year where we have welcomed an entire new class of interns at West Basin Municipal Water District. It's one of my favorite parts of this job. I love having not just a team of new staff to help us out, but a team of staff to really learn about the water industry. And so we do have an introduction today, and so I'm going to have Daryl Ramos-Young, our Manager of Communications, provide that introduction.
Thanks, EJ. And I'd like to welcome and introduce Ryan Lee. Ryan, if you wouldn't mind standing. He is resident of El Monte and recent grad of UC Riverside. And I'd like to invite him to share a couple more interesting facts about.
Yeah, so basically, hi, my name is Ryan, and I graduated in 2025 at University of California, Riverside in a degree of sustainability studies. So a little bit about that is that I did a lot of like STEM related courses, but as well as like the social, economical, and like cultural like impact within people's interaction with sustainability. And I'm going to be going back to school to Rio Hondo College for the associate's degree in business management and supervision. And yeah, I also interned for Riverside County for a communication role as like an intern, and yeah, not my first rodeo, but I'm happy to be here. So, thank you.
And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. All right, our next item is number 5, our action calendar. Do we have any action items, EJ?
We have no action items on the calendar today.
Moving right along. Item number 6, information calendar A, non-functional turf outreach. EJ?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For this presentation, we have Matt Bay, our Manager of Water Policy and Resource and Development, and this item begins on packet page 3.
Thank you, EJ, and good morning, Chair Favai and committee members. So I get to fill you in a little bit today on all of the activity that we've been kind of doing with regards to our non-functional turf outreach. And this is something that really kind of goes back for the last couple of years. I'm sorry, the slides begin on page 6 of the agenda packet. But it goes back the last couple of years. You know, the law was passed in 2023, but since then, staff has really tried to acclimate ourselves to the new law, kind of what it means. And not only my department, the water policy department, but also the PI team as well has a very heavy presence with this, especially with the outreach. And, you know, really it's been a lot of education, not only for ourselves, but for our stakeholders, for our customer agencies, for our cities, for our business communities, for our school districts. And I'll get into a little more details on that. So if we can move to the next slide, I'll provide a little background here. So just as a reminder, because we have presented on this a couple of times over the last year or so, but there's a phased kind of implementation for the non-functional turf irrigation ban for potable water. And we're actually coming up to the first year of actual implementation, January 1st of next year. And that will impact our properties that are owned by local government agencies. So our cities, primarily, but there could be some other areas, that impact non-city, agencies as well. But mostly cities is what we're focused in on there that first year. The second year then brings in a much larger, kind of, property base there with our CII properties. This also includes most of our educational institutions in our service area. So that'll be January 1st, 2028. And then the final year of kind of the 3-year implementation is the common areas of our homeowners associations, or other similar entities. So that'll be January 1st of 2029. A couple years after that, there is somewhat of a leeway given to local government facilities that are in our disadvantaged communities. But that could be extended even further potentially if there's not funding that's provided by the state of California. So if that funding is provided to help them to come into compliance, then it would be 2031, but it could actually be later than that. So that's still yet to be determined. Just one thing to note is, we have done kind of some general education about this to our communities, but it does not apply to residential properties. And so, to date, we have not prioritized doing outreach to our residents in the service area. We're really focused in on those entities that are going to be required to comply with the new law. Next slide. So our outreach, and if you kind of go down the list here, some of these we've already kind of touched, have communicated with multiple times in multiple ways. Some of them we're in the process of planning that out, and then some of them kind of have plans to do outreach to in the future. But you can see our retail agencies. We've checked in with our retail agencies multiple times. Gus and I just over the last couple of weeks actually have communicated with them, had virtual meetings with them to kind of see how they're going to treat this new law. What are they planning to do within their service areas as it'll impact many of our cities in the service area. And they all kind of range in determining what they plan to do. But I think it's primarily going to be education focused. They're not necessarily interested at this time in being like a really strict enforcement agency on this. They will if they need to, but primarily like West Basin, they really want to educate their communities about the new requirements. And then all 17 cities, that's something that I'll talk about in another slide, but this is something that the general manager and myself, we had in-person meetings with pretty much all 17 of our cities. So I'll provide a little more insight into how those meetings went. Also, our school districts, this is something that's kind of on the next, I think, horizon for us. Now that we've kind of had our touch bases with the cities, we want to move into our school districts. Also coming up would be our CII properties. So figuring out how to communicate with them, because that's always a more difficult customer segment to communicate with. So we are planning to do that, but how we do that is still kind of to be determined with us and the PI team. HOAs, they're a couple of years out, 2.5 years out. However, I already have done a couple of presentations to HOA. That have a couple more that are scheduled for later in the year. So we will continue to roll them out over the next 2 years. South Bay Cities Council of Government has been very involved with us and helping support this outreach. We've gone to a couple of their different meetings, plan to go to more meetings in the future with their city managers. And again, we heavily utilize South Bay COG for outreach to the South Bay cities, and that's something that they've been very involved with for the last couple of years in this non-functional turf outreach. Commercial real estate associations, that's something that Gus and I have worked with a group, and we're really just looking to explore ways that we can communicate with kind of the commercial side. So not necessarily the residential side, but the commercial side, to let their, to use those connections and kind of their network to get the word out about, the upcoming irrigation ban. So that's something that we're still exploring, but we've got some good contacts there that we've been utilizing so far. And then property management organizations, because a lot of those CII properties are managed by these larger property management groups. So that's kind of where we're going to be focused on, I think, next year more heavily on how to get in there and be able to provide presentations to those organizations and to their property groups. Next slide. All right, so the city outreach, this is something that EJ and I worked on over the last, I would say, 6 months or so. Again, we hosted meetings with all 17 service area cities. The vast majority of them were in person. There's also been presentations, as I mentioned, at the South Bay Cog board and committee meetings. I'll also be talking to a city managers group next month as well. And again, this has really been general non-functional turf outreach and education, but we also discuss with each and every one of our cities what programs and services that we offer. We also always offer them the opportunity to tell us what they need support with. And there's been a lot of follow-up with city staff coming out of each of these meetings. The really good news is that we really feel good overall about where our cities are. A lot of them have are aware, of the law first and foremost. And we want to continue to provide them with resources. One of the things that we're planning to do is to provide them with sample ordinances that each of them can use to adopt as part of their own codes so that they can be prepared on January 1st of next year to implement this new law. So we've been working with them on that. The other, I think the great thing that we came with out of these meetings is that a lot of them have done grass replacement projects. A lot of them did it, before this was even a law. So a lot of them are in really good shape and don't have a lot of projects. That's not to say that there might not be, parcels here and there where they might need to do some work. And we've kind of identified some of those, and Gus is kind of working with their teams to, provide free landscape designs and to promote the rebates that we have available to them. So that there's certainly opportunities there that we'll continue to work with them on. But again, if there's one thing I want to impress upon this committee is that, again, we feel pretty good with where our communities are across the board in terms of non-functional turf and how much they have of it in their different areas.
Matt, if I can just add to that.
Sure.
I was blown away by all 17 of our cities. Matt and his team put together some great information about the NFT regulations. Not only that, several of our cities had seen previous presentations provided by West Basin that outline the provisions of those regulations. When meeting with them, they had taken, on their own accord to go address several significant sites. And really now what we're looking at are areas that are either kind of out of their budgetary reach at this time because they've had recent projects. So they're looking at those down the road, or there are specifically sites that, there's that, I hate to use the term, there's a gray area of, well, what about this area that we utilize for this purpose? And I want to credit both Matt and Gus for kind of coining this term, or, you can always repurpose those non-functional areas. So you may have a grassy area. It's kind of like, well, what can you do with it? And I think our cities are looking at finding creative opportunities to utilize those spaces and or reduce that turf. And so I was very pleased to have those conversations with our cities and really talk about any area that were problematic. And because of the sensitivity with some of our cities, as far as what those sites are, I'm happy to meet with you individually if you want to talk about different parts of your service area or divisions. But generally speaking, I was incredibly pleased with their efforts and then our ability to kind of work with them on future opportunities.
BJ, and I would just add also that, this was the initial outreach that we did this year, but this is going to continue. with our cities into the next few years. We want to make sure that they're, again, continue to be aware of what's going on, that they're adopting the ordinances that they need to adopt to promote this within their own communities. And then also following up with them in future years, just to see how things are going, just to see if there's been other properties that have been identified, that we can help them, turn that non-functional turf into, a native landscape, or if there's opportunities to connect them to recycled water, which helps them, should also allow them to come into compliance, or as EJ mentioned, converting something into a functional space. So that work is not going to stop with our cities, at least for the next few years, probably longer. Next slide. We have a great landing page on our website that the PI team put together. This is something that we've shared with all of our cities, and in all of our future communications with the different groups, we'll be sure that they can go here. There's also links to other websites that have been put together. I'll mention CalWEP, Metropolitan Water District. They've put together some incredible resources for non-functional turf on their own web pages. And so we're just kind of able to put that all together on our website. But this is a really good space that we can, point people to that it's on the West Mason website. So it's a good tool to promote and educate. All right, next slide, please. And I mentioned kind of the resources. So, we don't have to recreate the wheel here. There's some great resources out there, again, that CalWEP and Metropolitan have put together. So with all of the city meetings that we went to, we were able to print out, some of these documents that were specific to cities. And when we meet with CII or school districts, we'll have resources that will be specific to them that we can bring to those meetings. But again, these are just free resources that we have available to us that all areas of California can use. And so we've been taking advantage of these good resources to share with those folks that we've been meeting with so far. Next slide, please. So this will be the last slide of the presentation. So just kind of looking at, what's coming up. So again, we'll be continuing to follow up with our retail agencies in our 17 cities over the next year, over the next 6 months before the first, wave kind of goes into effect. We've been providing, doing research, and we'll be providing those sample ordinances to all of our 17 cities, which we plan to do here in the next week or so. And then we're starting to do initial planning for the CII outreach. That'll be the next phase. And then also we're planning to do some initial school district outreach as well, which will be part of the 2028 wave. And then next year, again, we'll kind of switch more to our school districts, to our CII communities. We'll also be doing some outreach to our chambers of commerce. Again, they have connections in those communities, so we'll be doing a lot of that. And then starting to do some initial planning for HOA outreach as well. Again, I've already met with a couple of HOAs, and I think that they're very interested in this topic and want to make sure that they're in compliance. So that's something that will, it's not going to just be reserved next year. If there's opportunities to do that this year, we'll certainly do it this year as well. But that is something we'll be looking into more heavily next year. And then 2028 will be the main year for outreach to the HOAs, but then we'll also be having check-ins with our cities, with our school districts, and with our CII communities, with those property managers, to see if those projects are moving forward. And then looking beyond 2029, if there's a need to do disadvantaged community outreach, that's something that we'll certainly assess at that time. We'll also be following up with other properties, property type CII, school district, cities, and then having, again, that continuous check-in at least once or twice a year with each of our customer bases to make sure that they have everything that they need and that they're feeling supported by West Mason. So a lot of these details, aren't finalized yet, but we are working. We had a planning kickoff meeting with the PI team last week, and that's something that we'll continue to do on a regular basis, and we'll certainly continue to provide updates here to this committee and to the board about our ongoing actions in this area. So with that, EJ, I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on, but that concludes my update here, and I'm happy to take any questions from the committee.
No, my only comment is, great deal of credit goes to our team for not only, working to get the information out there, but, I think getting the information out there timely and also the details that are needed. Director Houston, I know that you've been very proactive as far as asking for this information to be brought back to the board, and to committees. Those presentations that were done, not only here in previous PI committees, but also the detailed presentations that we were doing at, water policy and legislation, committees. Those, I mean, have really, allowed us to get that information out to our cities ahead of time. And to see the progress that they've been making is truly impressive. So a lot of credit goes to our 17 cities as well. Thank you.
Thank you, EJ. I'll bring it behind the dais if any of our directors have any questions or comments. Director Houston?
Thank you. First of all, thank you staff for the presentation and the updates. And yes, I've been asking about this. It's coming up on this very quickly, obviously. I'm glad to hear a lot of cities and school districts are prepared. But I have a few questions very quickly. Who enforces this and what are the penalties for those organizations that are not in compliance? How's that going to work?
Yeah, so thank you for the question, Dr. Houston. So the state has kind of provided some overarching guidelines for enforcement, but they've delegated that to local agencies, so local water suppliers. That is something that when this law was being considered and passed, agencies wanted that local control. So in terms of our service area, it would be our IOUs. It would be our city retailers, so Manhattan Beach, El Segundo, Lomita, Inglewood, the LA County Waterworks District 29. So those are technically the enforcement agencies. However, cities themselves that aren't water suppliers, they can adopt their own ordinances. They just have to work with and communicate that to the retailers who kind of provide water to them.
And Matt, that was an area that we discussed with all 17 of our cities, and working with CalWEP. There are draft ordinances that cities could contemplate as far as adopting, whether you're a retailer or not. And every municipality is required to have the MWELO, the model landscape ordinance, as part of their municipal codes. And so there's an opportunity to include provisions in the MWELO that address this issue. But I think you're going to find that, within the 17 cities, looking at that deadline of 2027, the municipality itself is the target of that 2027 deadline. And so I don't know that they feel an ordinance is necessary at this time, but they have been grateful as far as getting that information and learning about how that enforcement goes.
And in terms of your question on penalties, so the state has provided that non-compliance can result in fines of up to $1,000 per day. But again, in talking at least with our IOUs and some of our cities, they're not going to jump straight to that. They want it to be more of an educational thing initially, and hopefully voluntarily everybody will come into compliance without having to do that part of the enforcement. But it is allowed under the law.
And so the retailers, if people are not in compliance, so they're the ones going to be monitoring this. They're the ones who are going to send the letters. They're the ones who are going to deal with penalties or what have you, correct? Not us, obviously.
Correct.
Now here's my other question, because, we're fortunate that a good chunk of our service area does have access to recycled water. A lot of our municipalities utilize it on certain spaces and properties, as well as the school districts, for example, the community college, Cal State Minnesota too. But obviously Division 4, there is no recycled wastewater up there, right? Culver City, Hollywood, goes to Malibu, Topanga, on and on and on. So, and I know it's going to come down on these retailers to figure this out. But how is that going to work when you think about like the Culver City School District or parts of the city? You might have an area that they've taken out grass and done what have you, but then there's other areas. What do? They just quit watering? Is that what the rule is? Basically, you just quit watering and leave it, right?
Yeah, technically that would be in compliance with the new law, would be to just stop the potable irrigation. So that is an option. We did always present that as an option to the cities that we met with. We said, this is not the preferred option, of course, because there's aesthetics that come into play when you stop watering, a public space like that. So we are push them towards the rebate programs and the free landscape designs, but technically that is a compliance option, is to just turn off the irrigation systems to those areas.
And let's get Director Houston the slides that we presented that outline, because there are a lot of different options, right? As Matt just mentioned, when you look at a school district, they have their landscape. A lot of it's going to be functional because kids are out there playing and sports and all these different things. But you do have some areas that need to be addressed. And we have slides that kind of list all the different options, because again, you could repurpose some of that. So you could convert areas, you could do native landscaping, you could be doing some of these different things that would be a better use of that space. And so let's make sure that we get him a hard copy of the slides.
The other thing that the law allows for is they want to, the state want to make sure that tree canopies are maintained and kept healthy. And so any areas with tree canopy or non-turf plants can continue to be watered just as they are now. So, and a lot of our cities have property areas like that where you have kind of some grass, but also with trees. So they'll kind of have to figure that out. But for the most part, they can continue to water those areas that have those types of non-turf plants there.
And let me think, I think I've got one or two more, but another example I'm thinking of is Palos Verdes Peninsula, which obviously there's one supply of recycled wastewater coming up there from us. But they're going to have a number of areas that are owned by public agencies where there is no recycled wastewater they can use. And so they either take out that turf or they quit watering. And it is potential high fire area in some place. So I don't know, it's more of a comment than a question, but I mean, how are those types of jurisdictions going to deal with some of that?
Maybe what we could do is bring you back or do an individual briefing on those cities. Those cities have done an amazing job. A lot of the grass that you see is native grass. And so as we drove through the communities and then we met with a lot of times we were meeting with public works directors or their arborists and their team. They had outlined little pockets of areas, but for the most part, their city hall spaces had all been converted, and they've done a pretty impressive job of getting ahead of that. Now they won't have recycled water in large parts of the peninsula, but they're already looking at how to address those other areas.
And I'd like to shout out the city manager for RPB, R. Morani, and he's put us into contact with the UCLA South Bay campus up there, with the big golf course that's up there. He set up a presentation later this year at a big HOA that's up there for us to give a presentation. So he's done a really great job for the city of RPB in giving us opportunities to do more education and to get some of those spaces that do have a lot of grass, some of which might be non-functional.
So because it's going to be a huge issue. It is what it is, right? And I did not forget, UCLA now has that campus up there. We've got Seattle Community that does have some recycled water. We've got West LA College in the area, on at Cal State Dominguez. So I think that's another whole situation. We're reaching out to them and we're through the retailer. Okay, last one is the provision where it's delayed for local government facilities in disadvantaged communities, which I believe there are some of those in our jurisdiction. I don't know if you can say them to us now, but I mean, there are a couple of cities probably that fall in that category, so they don't have to apply for a while yet on their public spaces. Is this correct?
Yeah, that's true. So I would say there's parts of Gardena, in parts of Inglewood, even parts of Carson, some of our unincorporated areas certainly fall into that category. So we've had conversations with some of them, because some of the cities are split where they have tracks that are considered disadvantaged and some that aren't. So, they're keeping that in mind as they plan out, their projects that they might need to do in terms of non-functional turf. So, and we have a great relationship or tool available to us through the LARIAC, which we gained access to last year, that does aerial imaging. So we're really trying to figure out how we can utilize that to really hone in on the non-functional turf throughout our entire service area, but also being able to kind of separate it out by DAC and not DAC to see, okay, these folks are going to be able to have extra time to come into compliance with needs. We'll have to meet that.
So on that note, originally I was thinking if the whole city is under that category, but it could be just portions of a city.
That's right.
So like, let's say your city hall is not in a disadvantaged area, but some other facility is.
Exactly. It can be separated out that way.
Interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you for everything. And it does help me understand this a lot better, let alone it's really on retailers and municipalities to deal with this and implement it. So it's going to be very, very fascinating along the way. And I will work with you offline on some of the HOAs. We've got some partnerships with relationships with, because I think they're the ones who, will probably get more confused or interested in how this works as it goes for direction. And then lastly, of course, is, we're just one district of many in the region, alone are relying on metropolitan. So I'm assuming everyone is trying to work on this across state, but alone SoCal. But we do have a lot better assets than others because of Red Sea Little Plant. But I guess what you'll do is you'll just keep us updated periodically.
Yeah, we'll definitely plan to update you every few months, or if there's ever any big projects that we become aware of, specifically related to non-functional turf removal. We'll definitely update you on that as well. Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Director Houston. Any other board of directors that have any comments? Director Deere?
No.
Director Gray?
No, thank you.
I just have two things, and Director Houston covered a lot of it, but I appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation, Matt. The 17 cities that you and EJ met with, was there any pushback from any of the cities on, on the regulations and upcoming dates that are coming up? Was there any pushback from any cities?
Thank you for the question, Chair Plavai. No pushback. I think everybody was aware, generally aware of the new law. And I think they want to come into compliance. They want to comply with the new law. They were very appreciative of West Basin's support in doing it, but they also know that they have an onus on themselves to also kind of identify those areas and there's within their cities that are still maybe at risk of being considered, out of compliance. So no real pushback. I think, they understand it's a statewide issue, but they appreciated I think the resources and support that we provided, and they know that we're going to follow up with them in the future, and that we just want to be an assistance to them. I think overall everybody had a very positive view of it.
Okay. And then lastly, EJ, I think it'd be good if like our individual directors meetings to give us like the updates on this.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. All right, moving on to our next item, 6B, education programs end of the year report. EJ?
Yes, thank you very much. For this presentation, we do have Fritz Petropoulos, our public information specialist, and this begins on packet page 13.
Thank you, General Manager Caldwell, Chair Flavai, members of the committee. This annual end-of-year summary report begins on package page 18 with an overview of this presentation. I will begin with an overall education program summary with student participation statistics, followed by more specific information for each program, including water recycling facility field trips, the 2026 Being Water Wise is art contest, the Water Reuse Youth Summit, the district's assembly program called Be a Super Water Protector, Teach and Test Volunteer Program, and then I will conclude with highlights of other education programs. But first, let's read my favorite thank you note of the year. It reads, Dear West Basin Water Team, thank you for showing us around and giving us examples that we understand. You guys were very nice to us. Also, thank you for letting us kind of try your jobs. Sincerely, Nora. Nora attended as a third grader in Mrs. Morgan Roy's class at Aviation Elementary in Hawthorne, Division 4. And this letter really shows how force development can start young by inviting students to observe, experience, and experiment in a supportive and age-appropriate environment. On package page 19, one can review the education program participation summary by program type in the far left column, and the number of sessions that were conducted during the 2025-26 school year in the middle column, and the number of students served in the far right column, totaling over 9,223 students served by West Basin's education programs. Next slide, please. Taking a deeper dive into each specific education program, starting on package page 21, one can see a series of photos from the hands-on water filtration activity from one of the water recycling facility tours. The field trip program can accommodate up to 100 tours per year and includes a complimentary bus provided to all public and private schools located within the service area or in the city of Torrance, a key recycled water customer. The students shown are from Perchie Avenue Elementary in Gardena, Division 2. Students use critical thinking, problem solving, and teamwork to complete the challenge. During the field trip, students get a mini lesson on the natural and urban water cycle, complete the water filtration activity featured here, and then take a guided walking tour of the Edward C. Little Water Recycling Facility. Students then have lunch and end their day with a program that integrates what they learned at Edward C. Little with a mission of improving ocean water quality at the Roundhouse Aquarium and Manhattan Beach. Next slide, please. For facility safety reasons, this program is offered to 3rd to 12th grade classes only, and West Basin requests that the school grade level chairperson coordinate among themselves and only schedule one grade level to participate in this program. Next slide, please. On packet page 23, you can see feedback from a teacher praising the program's organization. It reads, "This was one of the best field trips we have ever been on, from the communication with the facility to the educational content. I am still thinking about all the information we've learned, and I will never see water the same. Thank you." It is affirming to get this feedback that this dynamic program is having a positive impact on teachers as well as students. But please note that the illustration featured on this slide is from a thank you note from a student and not the teacher. The student was Sammy, a third grader from Mrs. DeSalis' class at Aviation Elementary. On packet page 24, one can see the number of school tours provided within each director division and the total number of students served, which totaled 3,392. Of the 5 out-of-service area field trips, 3 were for schools located in the city of Torrance, and 2 were homeschool groups with students residing both in and out of the service area in a variety of cities. Next slide, please. Comparing this year's participation numbers to previous years, notable trends are an increase of school tours in Division 4 and a decrease in participation from Division 1. While marketing is equitable across all 5 service areas, the teachers who schedule the school tour program can vary from year to year. Booking is done online and fills very quickly within days of the scheduling system opening. It is also important to note that Los Angeles Unified School District changed their requirements for using charter buses which led to multiple Division I schools being canceled and waitlisted. However, those affected schools will receive priority booking for this upcoming school year. Further information about school participation by Director Division can be found in Attachment B on packet page 48. Next slide, please. This year's Being Water Wise is Student Art Contest had stellar participation and beautiful and inspiring submissions. On this page, one can see 2 opportunities for teachers to help facilitate the creation of submissions: in classroom art lessons and art kits, which will be explained shortly. Next slide, please. Packet page 28 shows photos from the family-friendly celebration events. Also featured on this slide is one of the many social media posts promoting this program. Social media outreach included posts which promoted the contest guidelines and video reels that provided students with helpful art submission tips. A popular vote was also conducted, with several teachers and parents sharing and reposting West Basin content. Social media outreach for the program concluded with posts featuring the winning artwork. Packet page 29 shows a number of art submissions received by Director Division in the far left column. West Basin also promoted to all schools the opportunity to have a guest speaker visit the classroom to teach a water conservation and art lesson to aid students with their artwork submissions. The number of art lessons by Director Division are listed in the middle column. 22 art lessons were completed, with one school combining 2 smaller classes into one larger group lesson for scheduling efficiency. Free art supply classroom kits were also promoted to Title I funded schools to give teachers and students who might have limited access to art supplies an opportunity to participate. Kits included paper, an art kit with markers, colored pencils, oil pastels, colored paper, and an extra item which teachers could choose to customize their kit. Options included stencils, markers, watercolors, acrylic paint, or a set of scissors, rulers, and erasers. 35 kits were distributed out of the 35 possible kits budgeted for the fiscal year. Further school participation information can be viewed in Attachment C on page 51 of your packet. On page 31 of your packet are photos from the 2026 Water Reuse Youth Summit. Metropolitan Water District hosted this competition in collaboration with West Basin and the Water Replenishment District. It was promoted to all STEM-focused high schools in the West Basin service area, and 2 schools participated: Da Vinci Science in Division 4 and Lennox Math, Science, and Technology Academy in Division 5. From these 2 schools, 26 students in 6 teams participated in the competition. In total, almost 100 students in 29 participation teams from 7 schools in the greater Los Angeles region participated. Student groups were challenged to create projects and presentations on one of 3 water reuse prompts, focused on the issues of engineering, water quality, or public acceptance. Professional judges from the water industry selected 3 winning groups, who then had the honor of presenting at the 2026 Water Reuse Symposium on March 10th, 2026, a national conference for water reuse professionals that was hosted this year in Los Angeles. Next slide, please. Here you can see the Bubble Guppies, a group of 3 students from Lennox Math, Science, and Technology Academy from Division 5, who won the Public Perception Challenge and presented their bilingual campaign to spread awareness of water reuse to local schools in their community. And again, this program was a collaboration with Metropolitan Water District, the Water Replenishment District, and the Water Reuse Association, featured in the photo on the right. Next slide, please. On packet page 34, one can see photos from the interactive Be a Super Water Protector School Assembly Program, as well as an example of the Water Star Kit. On packet page 35, there is very positive feedback from the program, which is facilitated by Grades of Green, with whom West Basin contracts to operate this education program. The quote from Kevin Coronet, a principal at William Anderson Elementary in Lawndale, Division 5, reads, "The energy from the presentation team was super positive and kid-friendly, and students were able to make connections to the West Basin field trip they had all participated in. Third grade just the other week, fourth grade a year ago. Thank you." The focus of this program is discovering the source of our region's unpredictable water supply and connects this understanding to the need to practice water conservation. The Water Star Conservation Kit includes water-saving devices that each child gets to take home after the assembly to put their learning into practice. This assembly serves up to 250 third to fourth graders per session, with schools often scheduling multiple sessions on one day. Packet page 36 shows the number of assemblies completed by director division and the total number of students served. Grades of Green and West Basin shared the marketing efforts for this program, with a total of 25 sessions available and 23 assemblies completed. Further school participation information can be viewed in attachment D on page 57 of your agenda packet. Next slide, please. The final program I will showcase today on packet page 38 is the Surfrider Foundation's Teach and Test Ocean Water Quality Monitoring Program, operated by the organization's volunteer program coordinators, who recruit and train interested middle and high school students in how to collect water samples from coastal and inland sites and prepare them for analysis at a small lab at Dave's Dive Shop in Redondo Beach. Students were scheduled to participate throughout the year on every other Sunday during the monitoring season. West Basin sponsors this program. In fact, one can see Director Alvarez in the far back middle of the first photograph. Next slide, please. Very exciting news is that the Surfrider Foundation leadership expanded this water quality program to the Gardena Willows, an inland site, to better assess the water issues in this natural area and expand this workforce development opportunity to schools inland. The second lab opened in December 2025 and allowed the addition of 3 new sampling sites to their data collection protocols. Surfrider leadership is anticipating adding more sites in next year's cycle, possibly one at Alondra Park and another at Pollywog Park. Interestingly enough, the Surfrider also received notification that they are getting additional funds from a company that violated pollution laws, and as a result, they will add another 3 new testing sites over the next 2 years. Next slide, please.
And Fritz, if I could just add to that, again, I want to give credit to our staff for working with the Surfrider Foundation to encourage them to find inland sites to work with. We've been promoting this program for some time. We've been investing in this program, and we are active participants in this program. We've seen the communities really rally behind it and engage. As the photos even showed, we attend their event there in Redondo Beach, but making sure that there are inland sites really does increase participation across our service area. And so we're starting to see that happen. And I think West Basin has been playing a significant part as far as identifying those opportunities. So thank you to Daryl and his team for always encouraging people to kind of look at the totality of our service area when it comes to programs like this. Thank you.
Thank you. So this academic year was a beta testing year for this new second lab. The Gardena Willows lab has a monthly testing day that is open to the public. School groups are also able to come to the lab during the school week. Surfrider leadership expects to expand opportunities to more students in the coming academic year. However, it is important to note that the Willows is a vernal wetland, so testing during the dry season is not possible. Testing only begins when the rains begin, generally around October or November, and can continue through spring in April or May, depending on weather conditions. Next slide, please. Student participation this year was almost 600 students. Approximately 595 students joined at least one day of sampling, with a majority of students participating in 2 or more sessions, more than originally estimated in my board staff report. And to give you more specific numbers, Palos Verdes schools had 15 students participate. Adams Middle School had 60 students participate. Redondo Union High School had 80 participants. Miracosta High School had 30 students participate. El Segundo High School had 20 students participate. Environmental Charter High School and Middle School had a whopping 375 students join, partly because the new lab at Gardena Willows is within walking distance of both schools. Lawndale High School had 15 students participate, and several were regulars at both labs. Paris Middle School and Lusinger High School were initially expected to participate, but did not end up having students join. And Surfrider leadership is planning to increase their outreach to those schools for the upcoming year. Okay, summarize all this exciting information. Over 9,223 students for water stewardship ambassadors were nurtured by these 5 key education programs for fiscal year 25-26. Next slide, please. Additional education highlights start on agenda packet page 43. West Basin hosted 6 enthusiastic scouting troops this year. Next slide, please. West Basin also hosted 6 college classes, 1 from USC, 2 classes from LATTC, 1 group from Loyola Marymount, and 2 classes from Santa Monica College. In that last photo, Professor Winnie Swong is jumping for joy to celebrate the amazing tour experience. A notable anecdote is that in the far left photo, the group from University of Southern California, Cassandra Martinez, a student who's in the back row, one student in from the right, she was so inspired after a tour of Edward C. Little that she made the decision to pursue a career in water, and she is now part of the West Basin team as our new operations intern. So very exciting.
Great.
Next slide, please. Packet page 45 features the operations and engineering activity West Basin facilitates at local schools STEAM events, where students build and repair a pipeline to move water across the field. West Basin attended the Lenox Steam Fair, the Hawthorne Steam Expo, and the Hawthorne High Maker Fair. Next slide, please. And finally, West Basin was pleased to collaborate with the Water Replenishment District for their 2-week Water Leaders Academy. Packet page 46 shows the 19 program participants from Compton Unified School District and the tour and engineering activity they completed as part of their internship. Feedback from students who attended the Engineering Day program at West Basin was stellar, with 100% of the students saying they would recommend the West Basin Engineering Day to a friend, and with several students naming West Basin as their favorite site visit of many during their capstone project presentations on the final day of the program. Next slide, please. Packet page 47 has a list of the other educational programs that West Basin facilitated this year. Thank you so much for your attention during this extensive education program summary that covered this past year, and I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Fritz, for that amazing presentation. Wow, the PI staff has been really busy. I love all the tours and the different colleges that are involved and taking these tours at West Basin. And then, especially all the younger generation of students that are actually going through the tours and stuff like that. And I think that's just amazing just to see, our younger generation, getting involved. And the one that you mentioned that actually wants to pursue her career in water and in West Basin, I mean, that's a testament of, all the really good work that you guys are doing. So hats off to the PI staff. Um, keep up the great work that you're doing. I love all the different things that you're doing. And then what I'll do is bring you behind the dais and remember Houston, do you have any concerns or questions? Yeah.
No concerns. I just wanted to say thank you so much. Dr. Favalle said it very well too. I mean, you all are doing a great job, very proactive. I think it's just amazing. It's a testament to the district and what we do. And we're really fortunate to have that facility and to have, a large and robust staff that can do this type of work. The district's very, very well known for its education outreach programs. And I wanted to say 2 or 3 comments real quick. One is Teach and Test. Thank you to everybody who has worked with them to expand the program. That was one of my own personal, issues, let alone the board as a whole, make sure that our inland communities will be able to participate. And so I'm so happy to see that. And I'm happy that we continue to partner with them. And so when that comes back to us, EJ and someone, if you can just, keep us abreast early so we can be as helpful as possible to that program. It's excellent. Second, I did have a question. You kind of answered it, but about 250 people are usually at the assembly. Is that per session? How many kids are in the assembly when you go through them?
It does vary by school sites, depending on enrollment at the school. So Grades of Green, based on their experience of last year, found that the content was more suited for 3rd and 4th grade. So some schools may have 2 3rd grade classes and 2 4th grade classes. Some may have 6 and 6. So it can vary, but that was typically what can fit in a standard multi-purpose room. So more than 250, they would schedule a second session with it, usually on the same day.
How long is the session?
About an hour.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, it's wonderful because, we're able to reach a lot of young people all at one time, especially if they don't have the chance to come to the plant.
Yes.
Right? Let's see. I know what it was, a comment. And I think Daryl can kind of attest to this, the community outreach is extremely important. We all know that, but these young people, and especially the high school and college age young people, are literally coming up to the booth and talking to us about life and careers, right? And so even when we were at the July 5 event in Culver City, but I had a couple of young people who came up and chatted with me who were in college about career opportunities in water. And so I think it's really amazing. That's why it's important that we're out there in the community, we're listening, and we're helping give them advice and direction. And so I want to, of course, thank you all for that. But at the same time, it showcases the work we're doing is very, very important to bring in those young people like the gal from USC who's now on our team. We have an opportunity to show them some pathways and inspire them. So keep up the good work. But literally, like in my time at that booth the other evening, I think it was like 2 young people came up to me, and I was able to chat with them and let them have some options. So I think that's really great. So thank you for all these wonderful reports. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Houston. Director Dare?
Yes, I wanted to add my thoughts to the staff to keep up the great work you're doing. We really appreciate what you're doing. And you're touching all parts of the district by getting involved with these different schools and these young people. The marvelous thing you're doing. You keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Dare. Director Gray, you have any comments or questions? right, I think we're ready to move on to the next item. 6C, the quarterly community relations update. EJ?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this item will be presented by Mel Miranda, our public information specialist, and this item begins on packet page 59.
Thank you, Jen. Good morning, Chair Fabai and directors. This report will provide an update on West Basin's community relations efforts from April 1st through June 30th, 2026. And I hope you haven't gotten your fill of numbers yet because I have more for you. Beginning on page 59, I'm very pleased to report that the agency's outreach efforts have reached a total of 2,858 constituents this quarter, average of 952 people per month. Before I touch on each area of the report, I would like to acknowledge our staff for putting in so much of their time and energy to promote the agency's programs, and to the managers and upper management for encouraging disclosure. We held 11 tours this quarter, servicing 233 people. The highlight was the latest Water Lab Saturday public tour on June 6th that welcomed 61 guests, utilizing our 2 tour guides who were able to conduct the tour. Florence Cub Scout Path on row 4, Santa Monica Community College, row 5, and MWD Inspection Tour, row 9, also reached at least 20 participants, with the April Water Lab Saturday public tour welcoming 38 guest TCO. The next section on page 60 is the community and outreach and sponsorship events that included a tabling deployment. Thanks in part to Earth Month's 13 events, staff in the South Bay Environmental Services Center were out in the community 26 times, engaging with 2,331 community members. Highlights of these events were the SoCal Procurement Alliance Supplier Outreach, row 1 in that section, the South Bay Parkland Conservancy Earth Day Celebration, row 3, the Beverly Hills Earth Day event, row 4, El Camino College Foundation Spring Job Fair, row 12, the Water Replenishment Districts Festival, row 14, and the Wood Cup, row 23, which all reached at least 100 community members, and 3 others that engaged with at least 90. Next page, please, 61. There were 2 speaker bureau events that reached 97 folks, including a robust 85 at the annual Weisburn Middle School Career Day. There were also 7 West Basin outreach events this quarter. The Water Education Forum in Englewood topped this list with 65 attendees, with a virtual internship program tips webinar, firescaping workshop in Rolling Hills Estates, and garden design class in Manhattan Beach coming in with the next highest totals at 31, 26, and 23 respectively. Jen will provide more details about the Carson Water Education Forum in a report to follow. Staff also provided program collateral, sponsorship advertisement, and director talking points to the 12 additional events over this quarter. Overall, these engagement numbers showcase the breadth of events West Basin staff undertake and demonstrate our commitment to not only reaching the communities we serve through our many water and money-saving conservation programs, but also keeping them engaged through our sustainable and environmentally friendly business practices. That concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. I'll bring it behind the dais and see if any of our board members have any questions or concerns.
I'll just make a quick comment. Thank you for these. And I was just looking through the numbers. You know, some of them have a smaller outreach and some have a bigger outreach, but I'm pretty blown away by how many people take time to come up to the booths, you talk to you all, and you track it. So this is really incredible. And thank you also for all the time that's put into doing this. I see a lot of it, and I know a lot of it's on the weekends, times when you may or may not be work hours. So that's also greatly appreciated. And again, we are touching a lot of folks. I think that's very valuable.
Thank you, member. Director Deere, do you have any comments?
Okay.
Director Gray, do you have any comments or questions?
Just comment, I want to thank staff for the outreach that they do, and Director Houston really said what I wanted to say, but again, thank you again. I know it does take time. I'm happy to hear some of the numbers. I didn't hear them quite clearly, but I know you did a number of outreach in the city of Inglewood. So thank you, staff, for that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Green. Thank you. All right, now our next item is 6D, monthly communications update. EJ?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have Jen Jensen, our public information specialist for the presentation. And this item begins on page 63.
Members, good to see you today. I will start this report at page 65 for a list of our earned media coverage. Both Daily Breeze and Press Telegram publish their out and about articles promoting West Basin's virtual chat event in their digital papers, and this helped to get the word out about our free public program. We also, on the next slide, 66, have paid media coverage for this reporting period. As part of our comprehensive marketing plan for the first Water for Tomorrow, a community conversation event in Inglewood in June, we placed a series of several ads to get the word out about that event through the LA Sentinel, Inglewood News, and Gardena Valley News. We also placed ads for the second event in Carson, but of course those fall within the dates for the upcoming August committee report, so we will share those in the next reporting period. These ads, in combination with our other extensive outreach methods and marketing efforts, proved to be very successful, as shown in the fantastic attendance for both events. And I'll share more about that coming in this report. In other news coverage on slide 67, this recaps all of the SBESC e-blasts and newsletter coverage for the district programs, including grass replacement rebates, firescaping workshop, and garden design classes. These are very helpful for promoting our programs and gaining public attendance at our events. And always, as always, all of these media clips from both paid, earned, and other coverage in this report can be found on page 79. And for our social media report on page 68, or slide 68, in this reporting period, our social media team posted a total of 31 times across all platforms, including 9 times on Instagram, 13 on Facebook, and 9 posts on LinkedIn. The graph represents the volume of engagements, which demonstrates how often people are engaging with our posts on each platform through clicking on links, commenting, liking, saving, and sharing. And the total engagements for this reporting period were 2,380. That increased engagement that you see on that graph around June 11th is from a social media post highlighting the first game of the World Cup at the Los Angeles Stadium, celebrating their partnership with West Basin to use recycled water at SoFi Stadium Lake and Clear irrigation as well. We had 39,269 total impressions, which is the number of times our content was displayed to users on all platforms. And this stat gives you a perspective on the exposure that our content is receiving, which in turn can lead to increased visibility of our district, overall programs, and mission. Next slide, please. On this slide, we will share the top performing social post on each platform for the reporting month. And below that image, we will share why it is the top performer. Starting on the left of the slide for Instagram, the Wood Cup highlights the post in Inglewood, and that garnered 2,107 views. On Facebook, our top post was the State Water Project inspection trip post, which had 912 accounts reached. And on LinkedIn, we've received 658 engagements for the post highlighting the Pure Water Los Angeles Stadium. And then moving on to page 70, please, for our community relations update. We were able to engage with our communities at 7 different events this month. That began with the first Water Education Forum in Inglewood on June 24th, with 65 community members in attendance. And I'll share more details about that event and the Carson Water for Tomorrow event also later on in this report. We followed with our community events, 95 engagements at both the Faith Fit Wellness event in Inglewood and 95 interactions at the Samoan Heritage Festival in Carson, both taking place on June 27th. And then the next day, staff engaged with 30 constituents interested in water conservation and education at the Steps for Vets 5K run in Inglewood. And then July kicked off with the Culver City Independence Day celebration that Director Houston mentioned earlier, and that had 70 engagements at our information booth. And at last week's second and final water education forum in Carson, that welcomed 85 community members. And then to wrap this up, staff gave a tour to the South Bay Board Writers Club last Saturday, and that will be 12 p.m. And onto the program section of the report, slide 72, please, for updates on the residential grass replacement rebate program. We continue to get interested residential signups and are now at 424 as of today. We are screening those applications to ensure program eligibility and get their project started. And we are also, I do want to mention, for marketing efforts, working on collateral to reflect the $5 and up per square foot rebate that was approved by USDR grants. That increased amount will take effect in September this year, and we're preparing our collateral to market that. And on slide 73 for Water Lab program updates, we welcome 17 attendees at our latest chat on June 17th and are looking forward to our final public tour on August 8th and our final No Looter H2O class on September 9th, which will feature an instructor from MWD on the topic of emerging water saving technologies. Additionally, plans have already begun for Water Lab 2027, which we will share with the board towards the end of this calendar year. Next slide, please, page 74 for the most recent information on those water education forums. I'll begin with the Inglewood event where we welcomed, like I said, 65 attendees in a very packed room at the Center of Hope in Inglewood. Our panelists included agencies from West Basin, Metropolitan Water District, Water Replenishment District, and LA Department of Water and Power, with the City of Inglewood and Golden State Water Company attending and having tables at our event and answering questions. As you can see from the slide, it was nearly standing room only. And if you go to the next slide, please, we had a great turnout with a very enthusiastic audience participation. We have more images on this slide that capture the spirit of the event that feature Director Gray, our panelists, and opportunity drawing winners from the cities of Azusa, Gardena, and Los Angeles. On the next slide, 76, please. This features information from the Carson Water Education Forum that welcomed 86 guests and was actually standing room only at that event. We had crowds of people waiting to get in the room for attendance. We had West Basin, MWD, WRD, and LA County Sanitation Districts as panelists, as well as tabling agencies at the event from the City of Carson and California Water Service. For that Carson event, the opportunity drawing winners were residents from Gardena, Carson, and Omega. Photo galleries from each event are posted on our district's website, and each gallery was sent to our directors for their respective city as well, through the Office of General. Overall, we are thrilled with the success and the attendance of both events and the public educational outcomes that came out of both. Moving on to slide 77 for our upcoming National Night Out events. This slide represents the night out events that were confirmed by the time that this report was submitted, but I do want to mention that since then we have confirmed National Night Out events in Culver City and neighborhood events in West Hollywood as well. A link to those events was sent via the General Manager's office this morning to the Board of Directors. West Basin staff and the South Bay Environmental, that's a tongue twister. The Environmental Services Center are coordinating coverage and will provide a recap at next month's. This concludes the report, and I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Jen, for the report. I'll bring you behind the dais and Member Houston, do you have any questions or?
Actually, no question. I'll just say, I'm glad to see the Inglewood turnout was excellent, and of course the Carson turnout was excellent as well. A lot of fun, very informative. So I just want to again thank the staff and commend everybody for all the work that was put into the education forums, and I'm glad that we were able to reach a lot of folks with that. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Director Houston. Director Deere?
No comments.
Director Gray, do you have any questions or concerns?
No concerns, just comments. Thank you to staff for the form educational event in Inglewood. I thought it was well attended and people who did attend were very enthusiastic about learning about water. And so just want to thank staff very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Gray. I just wanted to mention to the PI staff, thank you, for covering the Carson Forum. I know I wasn't available, but and thank you, EJ, for covering that as well. I think that's a great turnout, and then the other forums as well in Inglewood, and then other important updates too. So appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on. 6E, monthly conservation programs update. EJ.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the presentation, we have Gus Meza, our Senior Water Policy and Resources Analyst, and this begins on packet page 91.
Thank you, EJ, and good afternoon, Chair Pawai, committee members and directors. For my presentation, I'll be using the PowerPoint slides that begin on page 93. Next slide, please. My first update is on our landscape design program. Our current contract with our landscape designer, Swayzer Landscapes, it has expired on June 30th. So staff issued an RFP and we received 3 proposals. And so we're currently evaluating those proposals so we can hire the next landscape art designer. And so we have a good number of applications on our database of folks who are interested in receiving a free landscape design. That includes residents, cities, and others. So we also emailed all the applicants to provide them a status on this project and to let them know when we plan on restarting the program. And so our goal is to try to have somebody on board by next month if possible, so we can continue offering the landscape designs, which are a very popular program and very needed as well. Next slide, please. We have some good news to report, as you can see highlighted there. USDR did approve our extension. We were waiting for quite a while, but they did approve our grant extension for another year to June 30th, 2027. This will allow us to keep offering the additional $1 per square foot. But the rebate gets even better because with our approved conservation budget that our board approved, we're in the process of adding our additional West Basin cost share to the rebates. So starting around September, our grass replacement rebates will be increased to $5 per square foot. So we'll be able to offer $5 to residents, cities, commercial, basically everyone. So that's great news. And we're working closely with our PI department to prepare for that launch with our marketing materials. Next slide, please. For the commercial and public sites, we continue to see activity, as you can see there, with 14 commercial sites applying, 6 multifamily HOAs, 2 cities applying for the rebates. So we plan to target these sectors with our new increased $5 per square foot rebate starting in September. Next slide, please. And this pie chart here shows that pie chart on the right shows that we've utilized all the grant funding for the landscape designs, for the marketing, and we have $42,000 remaining on the grant that was just extended. So that's the $1 per square foot that we'll be able to offer here in the coming months. And I don't know if Matt, you want to add to this?
Yeah, just to note that we expect to kind of burn through this grant pretty quickly this year because we can apply it to both residential and CII applicants. Last year, we had funding from Metropolitan Water District had its own federal grant funding that kind of conflicted with ours. So instead of using ours last year, we said, okay, take $1 from Metropolitan, and then that's no longer in place. So this year we can apply that to both CII and presidential. And so, all it takes is really just a couple of bigger CII projects to go through that money. So I'm fully expecting to see that number go to 0 by the end of this fiscal year. At least that's what we're really hoping. So I'm gonna try to make that happen.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Next slide, please. This is the program in the Malibu and Topanga area. It's called Your Smart Yard program. So we continue to promote it with our partners in the Malibu and Topanga area. And we currently are promoting a discounted native plant sale, which is began. And we'll continue promoting that through August and September. And then the residents will be able to pick up their plants on December 5th at a small event at Malibu City Hall. So we continue to promote that. We've also, Director Houston, we reached out to Malibu City staff to conduct a short presentation there at an upcoming city council meeting. And the Malibu staff wanted to see if we could first present to their Public Works Commission in September, and then to council. They mentioned that this would be a good opportunity for us to meet their water commissioners and inform them of our programs. And staff has provided the date to board services, and they'll provide you with that date and time for that meeting with the Public Works Commission in September. Okay. And next, that's the update there. Next slide, please. So for our rain barrel events, we are currently coordinating our upcoming events. Here, we have the next locations for the events, also with suggested volunteer groups to assist us. We've confirmed the small event in Malibu for November 14th, and we just confirmed the Hawthorne event for December 5th. And we're in the process of scheduling the Culver City event at West LA College. Director Deere, we're currently working with Hawthorne, the city of Hawthorne, and if you'd like, we can suggest some volunteer groups. I know in the past we've worked with the Rotary of Hawthorne, Lennox, and they've done a great job for us. So if you want to get back to us on the volunteer group,
That'd be fine.
okay, great. Yeah, they always do a great job for us at that event. So we'll reach out to the Rotary Club of Hawthorne. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, next slide, please. And lastly, we continue to coordinate and schedule the landscape classes. We in our PI department are currently working with the locations shown here to secure the sites for the classes. These landscape classes are very popular with the public, and it gives us a chance to promote our other programs and grass rebates. Our first class will be at ECL next month on August 25th at 6 p.m. And that is the end of my presentation.
I think there's one more slide.
Is there one more slide?
Yes.
Oh, they snuck it in there.
They did. But I'll take this one. Thank you, Gus. So this is just kind of an interim update for this committee. I know there was some questions, and we had our presentation on this last month, but just wanted to provide an update that Gus has been doing a great job for us in reaching out to our cities, that some of those that were kind of identified as needing improvement in their OFG landscapes. And in the slide here, I said kind of phase one was going to be to reach out to first those cities that need improvement, and then second to those that were designated as fair condition. But Gus has already actually reached out to both sets of those. So I think it's 9 cities, Gus, that you've reached out to so far, trying to set up meetings with each and every one of them to kind of go out, have a site visit, look at the landscape, look at the conditions of the signage, and see, if we can work with them. We're very cognizant that cities have stretched budgets right now. But if there's any way that we can work together with those cities to, just make even minor improvements at some of their OFG spots, that's, that's really what we're aiming to do. So Gus is working on that. He and I are going to kind of coordinate that. And then we're working with the PI department on the signage issue. So I believe that Michael is doing some research on that. Just want to give the committee an idea of if we wanted to replace all of the signage at all of our sites, what would that look like? Because we know some are in bad condition. A lot of them are outdated now in terms of the content on the signs. So just as a starting point, if we wanted to replace all the signage, what would that look like in terms of cost? And then we can kind of go from there. So we'll plan to bring this back with a little more information at the next committee meeting for.
Great. Thank you for that, Matt. And on that note, when you bring it back, can you tell us the type of content you would propose put on the sign, or right, or what it would maybe look like? It doesn't have to be a full rendition, but what you'd want to put on there, since you said you're updating.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Matt, for the update. I'll bring it behind the dais. Director Houston, do you have any? Or you've
You
already
know what?
covered?
I'll be quick on this one too.
Okay.
Like, again, great work. I'm really happy to hear that grant was extended, that we're working so hard to get that money out the door, and people are taking advantage of it. Obviously, with these super El Nino that's coming our way, if it pans out to be a very wet winter, I mean, that may, of course, affect people's thoughts on taking advantage of some of these programs. So I know it might be a little more difficult for us in our marketing. But that being said, we got the resources. So I think we should just continue moving on full throttle there. On the other side, we did it to education forum. I mean, the Colorado River is in very, very dire shape. Hardly a day goes by, I don't see an article about it right now. Let alone what's going on in Northern California and then the wildfires and so on and so forth. So we cannot relent in that. Second thing, I do have a quick question. It is the landscape class that will be at Dead Sea Little on August 25. Is that in the evening or is that the day? That's in the evening?
6 to 8.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you. And gladly to hear you all about a lot of the National Night Out events are coming into the calendar. So we'll keep the siege posted with what's going on in the visions out there. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Director Houston. Director Deere, you have any comments?
No, I don't.
Director Gray, do you have any comments?
No, is his director's comments at the end?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're almost there.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to leave, but so before, I don't have any comments regarding that, but I do want to thank staff for all the presentations today, and I do have to leave here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Gray. I thank you, staff, for that update. All right, we're gonna move on to 6F, the monthly water bottle filling station program update. EJ?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this item will be presented by Matt Vang, our Manager of Water Policy and Resources Development, and it begins on packet page 102.
Thank you, EJ. And I'll go into the slides, which begin on packet page 104. Should be a pretty brief update for you. But the next slide, or the first slide that I'll cover, this just shows a summary of last fiscal year, so 25-26, where we ended with our applications. So you can see there we had 7 applications that we approved over the course of the year. About half of those have been installed so far. We still have a few remaining sites that still need to be installed. And the next slide goes into some of the upcoming skipped ahead. So this was some photos that Tammy provided here of the completed installation at the Gardena Buddhist Church in their classroom as part of their school that they have there. So in the classroom hallway, so a nice installation there inside of that facility. And the next slide, I think I was skipping ahead to, is the pending joint photo opportunities that we have with the Gardena Buddhist Church, the Environmental Charter Middle School in Inglewood, and then at the El Segundo High School. Segundo. So I know that Tammy is coordinating with board services and the directors to schedule those photo opportunities later this year. Next slide, please. So we have had a number of inquiries that have come into Tammy over the last few months. We're hoping to convert those into actual applications. We actually just approved an application last week. So that'll be our first one for the next fiscal year. But as you can see here, some of the inquiries have come from a couple of our cities, Lawndale, Lomita, RPB, and then County of LA has several projects, I think 3 or 4 applications that they're considering. So hopefully we'll get those to come through here in the next couple of months. And then the Manhattan Beach Unified School District is the other one that you can see there. Next slide, please. So in terms of program promotion, we did have a kickoff meeting with I a week or 2 ago to talk about this program. And so, these are some of the things that, are already in place: email promotion, working closely with South Bay COG to promote the program, and then of course our own internal website. But we came up with a comprehensive plan for kind of the year ahead of how we want to tackle this. And we recognize that our activity was lower this last year than it had been historically. And so we're going to look at that if that's a trend or if that's the new normal. But obviously we want to try to utilize all the funding that is given to us by the board for this program. So we're going to do all that we can as a joint team here to try and promote and outreach this program over the year ahead. And so we'll be providing updates on that throughout the year at this committee. Next slide. So, and then this kind of concludes with the budget. So I mentioned 7 projects that we approved last year for a total of $10,000. So that's where the year ended. Again, we hope to see, I think the goal would be to try to double that amount, at least this coming fiscal year. I think that's our internal goal. Obviously, we'd love to get the full funding that we have available to us, but we're just going to keep plugging along and get more of those applications to come through. With that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any final questions on it.
Thank you, Matt, for the update. I'll bring you behind the dais. Member Houston, you have any questions? Any questions there, Director Adair?
No.
You can see Director Gray has left. Thank you, Matt, for the update and everything. It's always good to see the inquiries come in. And I know you mentioned about, doing more, which I think is always good, to see that we're doing more. So thank you. Thank you for the update on that. Okay, our next is a closed session. We don't have any items in closed session. DJ?
That is correct.
All right, then our item 8 is director's comments and future agenda items. Member Houston? Do you have any?
I just want to say again, thanks for all the reports. Excellent work. I wanted to also comment again on the Carson event that I had to go to. I couldn't go to Inglewood, but you all did an amazing job. It was run very, very well. It was well attended. It was a lot of fun. It was really interesting, and people enjoyed it. Food, of course, was really excellent too, by the way. But it was just a really good night, and it helped people like myself and others get inspired by what we do. So I just want to compliment all of you for making that come together. Because we did work long and hard on the idea, the concept, and then we ended up doing 2 events, not just one. And I've heard from EJ and a couple others about the interest of folks who were there when they asked questions, or whether it's there offline, what have you. And so I just know it was well done, and people really enjoyed that. So I want to compliment you. And then the other thing too is thanks for the updates this morning on the issue up in West Hollywood with this massive pipeline break. Which even have TV on all morning. I mean, it's just all over the news. So that's something. But I think coming out of that, it only reemphasizes the importance of what we all get to do, right? And the public, we do a great job of getting the water to them. It's safe, it's clean, it's reliable. System is aging, and it's always difficult to deal with the aftermath, let alone manage people's expectations. So I think two things. One is thanks for keeping me updated. And EJ and I'll keep working with city partners up there. But the other thing is, again, I think coming after this, it's always those lessons learned, and it just gives us an opportunity to a better public outreach for our industry, let alone there are opportunities in this industry, that people can be a part of the process and solution rather than the problem. But I'm just going to say, I think it just, again, reemphasizes how important the work the water folks is to our region. And so we need to make sure that we utilize that as an opportunity. And working with DWP and MWP, whomever, that we can still be on the positive, proactive side to our community members. And obviously, we've got some very dry conditions coming our direction too. So the wildfire season will probably be pretty significant potentially. So there's a whole bunch of things that we have to be ready for. So thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to be doing in the next month.
Thank you, Director Houston. Director Dare, you have any comments or?
Yes, I do. The school trips are always very popular. And I'm curious, the third and fourth grade seems to be the target grades. I'm wondering why that is. Why not a higher grade? Why not a middle school grade? Why not the high school? Why it seems like the third and fourth grade classes are getting on the trip. So if you don't have to answer it now unless you have an answer off the top of your head, but I'm curious about that. Why those grade levels?
If I may respond, our school assembly program is targeted for third and fourth grade. Our school tour program is for third through 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
So it is marketed to all grade levels. That being said, we do tend to have more third, fourth, and fifth grade classrooms book the school tour program because it is easier when it's one teacher teaching the same group of students all day, whereas middle and high school, when you have multiple teachers, it's a bit more challenging. But you can, if you'd like to look at the attachment, you can see the full list by division and how many. And if you'd like us to disaggregate that data into elementary, middle, and high school, I'd be happy to do that for you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Director Dare. I'll close out with my comments. I just wanted to say, and it's off topic, but I just wanted to say thank you to EJ and Desiree and the staff. Although I wasn't in attendance on July 8th, my mom passed away on July 5th. And just to see, the staff step up and do the good work that you guys do every day. I just want to make sure that it doesn't get unnoticed from us as board of directors. And I just want to say thank you because I was supposed to be there on July 8th. And I buried my mom on July 13th. And thank you, EJ and Desiree, for respecting my family's wishes to keep it discreet and private. But I just want to say thank you to the West Basin staff for your comments and the board of directors for their text messages and everything. But I just want to say thank you. I think we're at the end of our director's comments. And then Meeting adjourned until our next scheduled meeting on August 20th, 26th. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.